Hello there, what is going on everybody? Today we are looking at a lightsaber from Heysaber. Now, Heysaber is a company making some high quality lightsabers. They reached out to me and asked if I wanted to take a look at one of their new sabers, and I said, absolutely, let's take a look at it. And so we're gonna be looking at the Master Saul saber. This is Saul from the Acolyte. So if you've seen the Acolyte, you've seen a lot of new lightsabers, and they have quite a few of them from that show in here. We're going to be taking a look at this. Also, check out the link in the description below. You can check out Heysaber. They have a sale that is running this week up until the 29th. So definitely don't hesitate if you are thinking about picking up one of these sabers if you like what you see. You know, this is going to be the Master Saul saber, and my first reactions is, wow, this is heavy. This is a beefy saber. It is wow, it really, if you feel, this feels substantial. This is maybe might be the heaviest saber I have ever felt. We're going to get it out of the packaging here, and while I'm doing that, I want to remind you guys, we are doing still that $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. And there we are. This is this one's big and beefy. Now, there's not a whole lot of additional apparatus on this lightsaber. It is primarily pretty smooth, and we've got a little bit of like heat coloration here. This is he's seen extensive battle, and so his lightsaber is a little battle worn, and I love the way that they do the discoloration pattern towards the top. Kind of makes it look like this is a lightsaber that has seen a lot of usage. He's not he's just not sitting there behind a desk just filing Jedi paperwork. He's out there in the field, igniting this thing pretty consistently. We're going to take a look a little bit more at how you work these with the blade. We'll look at everything else that comes in the box here, and very cool stuff. So we've got some extra little things. We've got a screw here. We have, let me pull this out. We've got a USB-C. It looks like USB to USB-C charging cable. We have also our little miniature screws and our Allen wrench. You're going to use that to affix the blade. Now, the blade here, this is a longer blade. I think this is one of the longest ones they have. We've got the little tip on there. I believe this is a Xenopixel saber, which is really nice. And the difference between these and like RGB blades, the RGB blades are usually hollow. And the pixel blades that the very like NeoPixel, Xenopixel, and so forth, they have electronics running all the way through, so that allows you to do some very, very cool stuff with these blades, as opposed to just the light shining through. They can actually kind of turn on and turn off, and then apply some different effects. And we will take a look at those. There's also a USB in here. I don't know why a lot of saber companies give you USB. I don't use these, so yeah. And then there's the product manual here, which will explain, because one of the things you're going to want to do with the saber is learn how to use it. And it looks like it's a single button saber, so we're going to walk through how this one button will control a lot of the functions of the saber. But initial reactions, very smooth, very easy to hold. I like the fact that there's not too many things going on in here. You do have the holster. If you want to equip a belt attachment to it, this can just affix to your belt. It'll lock in right here, and you can take it out. Or, of course, you can use this one as well. So there's several different belt type of designs, and this one works with either of them. You have a little bit of finger grip in here on this part, in this slight little ridges right in here, which you can use if you want your fingers to grip in right there. But it is very smooth, and it will, it's kind of nice. So many of the other sabers have like these big buttons and things, and sometimes when you're practicing with them, when you're using them, you might accidentally turn the saber off, or change the blade, or change the color, while you're wielding it. And so I like the placement of the button. This one's up high. You're usually not going to grip it that close to the blade, so you're normally going to grip it from here down to here, or even a little bit lower sometimes. Or a two-handed grip still does not have you touching the button unless you want to, and then your thumb can just go out and hit the button when you need to. So very well designed lightsaber. Even though it does have a more simplistic look, this one's going to be a lot easier to wield than most other sabers, so that much is very cool. Now let's dive into some of the functionality. So I do want to show you how this one comes apart, because this one's different from some other lightsabers that I've looked at before. You're going to unscrew this part right here, and this one has a different type of core than some of the other sabers that I've looked at, and this one is really, really impressive. So we have this whole removable core here. This is awesome. Now we do have the battery right here. This is a lithium battery, but it has the kyber crystal on there, so it's kind of like that's the kyber crystal, right? And this is we've got our card here. All of our circuitry is in this sort of gold inlaid core, which is very cool. And there's also an on-off switch right here, so you can power this off, and that'll prevent battery drain. Some of these types of sabers, if you're not using them all the time, and then you decide, hey, I want to turn this one on and play with it now, you might find that the battery's been draining while it wasn't in use, because there's always that signal kind of looking for, is it you touching the button to charge me. And so this will save that battery, so you can charge it up to full, power it off if you're going to travel, or until you're ready to use it, and then you can go ahead and turn this on. Your USB-C charging dock is right here, and so that's also how you can charge it. But we're going to turn this one on, and we're going to reinsert, and we'll put this back on. And that's how you look at doing all of that. Tighten this up, and this is while it is a belt loop, it also can help you get a nice tight fit in there. Now, to power this thing on, you're going to hold the power button for a few seconds.
Power on.
And it's going to tell you it's now powered on. So now, and it will eventually time out, and so you'll have to do that again if you don't use it after a while, but this will leave it on for a few minutes, and then you can press the button to power it on. And you don't need the blade inside if you want to at least power it on a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. So you can hear the sound font that's going on here. And you've got, it does function as sort of a lightsaber, and it's got great motion control. Now this is sort of a rainbow kind of fantasy crystal sort of thing. We can hold that. That's really cool. But we have all sorts of other different fonts. We'll cycle through some of them as well. All right, so I've turned the lights down a little bit because I want you to be able to see how brilliant this is. Normally when I'm doing lightsaber reviews, I do it with all of the light, and then I do it without the light. And I think, a medium, sort of slightly less light is the best way to go. So here we go where I've got it. I'm going to fire it on with the blade inserted. This is magnificent. I just want you guys to know. This is, it's beautiful. I love the weight. I love the sound card in it. I love this pre-built. But if you don't like this one, you can fire it off. You hold the button, and then we can do certain things. Like we can adjust the volume by holding the button for half a second. If we hold it for a whole second, it'll switch. Broken ignition. Broken ignition. Look at that. It'll change how it ignites.
Photon ignition.
Photon ignition. Oh, wow. All right, we're going through all of this. That's also very cool. I like that. That is, and it kind of flashes a little bit. It's pulsing. So that's a really cool effect. And this is kind of one of the cool things about the new Xenopixel technology, is that you can get all these different effects. So now if we want to change the color, we can hold the button down while it's going for 1 second.
Color change.
Okay, so now it's in color change mode. It's going to cycle through different colors, and we can press the button again once it gets to one that we like. There we go. It's getting purple. So I'm going to lock it in there with this sort of like light blue teal. That looks pretty good. All right, so that is a look at the Master Saul Pro Saber. This is a beautiful lightsaber. Again, very heavy on the hilts compared to most other sabers. Not like, obnoxiously heavy or anything like that, but it feels more substantial. It feels like you've got something really powerful in your hands. So I really dig that. Pros and cons for it. A lot of pros. I love the assembly inside, the little cradle, the gold and kyber crystal part that comes out. It's easy to remove this. It's easy to pull that out and charge it. Although I do wish that there was still a USB-C charging port on the exterior of the Saber, just because I have a lot of Sabers and I don't like necessarily having to pull out the bits to charge them all. I'd love to be able to, if I could just plug them in and keep them charging while they were still looked exactly as they are. But that's just me. The other thing is I thought was interesting is that they give you like this larger clip right here, which is a hand, like a thumb screw that you could use in place of the really tiny screws with the Allen wrench. But they only give you one of those, and I was like, well, you know, and I guess the purpose of that is that if you wanted to have this in, but you wanted to be able to take it out without having to pull out an Allen wrench, like maybe you're doing cosplay or something like that. The problem is one thumb screw isn't enough to make this really secure. You need 4 of them, and so if you take out one thumb screw, you know, I don't really see the value in that single thumb screw unless you were to have all 4, but then it would maybe look kind of bulky. So I'm not really a big fan of the thumb screw. I also do often prefer like multi-button sabers. Single button sabers have so much finesse, and like while the instructions have a lot of detail on how much you can do, and you can make this thing play music. There's a lot that you can do with it. I'm just going to go over some of the pages. And of course I set it down on the button and then we just turned it on, but that's my fault. No, I mean, like the button feels good, the button works great, but the problem is like they're designed for it to give you like an LED flash feedback, and the button itself doesn't do that. So you have to time it, which makes it a little more tricky to do some of the more complex control options. But I think there's also an app that you can get for this, the Xeno app for Xenopixel stuff, and this can allow you to get even more control over your saber and what you're doing. Only other thing is that while this one came with a lot of stuff, it did not come with a stand. Some companies will have their sabers come with a stand, some won't. Frankly, I don't think I'd want to display this one as a stand. I think I just want to play with all the time. So I don't think that's much of a criticism, the fact that it doesn't come with a stand, because, you know, frankly, I don't use the stands that I have. I've built custom things for them anyway. So, but just in case, you know, you were wanting a stand with your saber, you know, that's just something to keep in mind. That this one did not include one, but there's just so many stands that are already available too if you wanted to do that. But ultimately, it's a beautiful saber. It feels great. It's one of the best feeling sabers that I've had. It feels fantastic in my hands. It's got so many features. The blade looks absolutely brilliant and really, really nice. The sound card is really good, and the motion tracking is exceptional. For example, like just being able to, the way it reacts. You know, and if you do a longer swing, it like has that little zing on the end of it. You hear that? Like I love that little details like that, and then pressing the button and all the flash on clash and all of the features that you want out of a lightsaber. This has and more, so it's really fantastic. So definitely check it out. Again, Heysaber is having their big 30% off sale for until Wednesday, the 29th. So there's still a little bit of time left to enter to check that out, and I'll have a link in the video description below. Big thanks to Heysaber for sending this out. Also, big thanks to my patrons for continuing to support the channel. I want to thank you all so much for watching. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.